The pre-merge eliminations in Total Drama are always the hardest to get right, cause you gotta balance the characters you intend to make far, while also giving the eliminatees some time in the spotlight. All the while, making their elimination not too obvious, just to keep some uncertainty in the game. And that's not even the end of things, because sometimes you'll make a character that's so likable, it backfires. And then this pre-merge elimination has an army of die-hard fans who are ready to kill you for not giving their beloved favorite character a spot in the merge. This is all a prolonged way of saying that there's a wide variety of character tropes throughout this series' pre-merge eliminations. I want to rank them from worst to best, specifically the small, sad group of 22 characters who never made the merge, as that'll be easier on my sanity. We'll be excluding the Redonkulous race from this list since, you know, there is no merge. Most of this is just going to be my opinions, so if you don't like them, you're obviously wrong and I'm the Messiah. Let's go! These are characters I hate the plotline, story, and general presence of. This bunch gives me no enjoyment or even guilty pleasure, because there is no pleasure to be had. Stacy sucks. Her entire bit is bragging about her family and being intentionally unlikable. I'd hardly call it a plot device because the elimination did no service to anything. I get why she exists, but that doesn't negate the fact that she has no personality and is not funny to make up for it. Nobody would be mad and nothing would be lost if she got the Feral Ezekiel plotline. Good riddance. Amy and Sammy are tied for 21st and 20th place consecutively. You see, the joke is that Amy hates her sister. And that's it. Oh, and it's not just Amy. For some reason, everyone else hates Amy. Are you laughing yet? Because then Sammy takes Amy's place. And once the team realizes this, it's fucking Pakatu, I don't even remember the team names, she just dies on the spot. What a rare Pakatu Island W. Both of these characters brought nothing to the table but whining on both sides, and it wasn't endearing at all. I honestly forgot Rodney's elimination was in between the twins. Yeah, Rodney isn't that funny to me. If you liked his one joke, good for you. I didn't like it. The one time I ever felt enjoyment at something related to Rodney is when he held the robot chicken funnily. D tier consists of characters who suck, but I at least had some level of personal enjoyment, even if it was just one or two moments. It's really strange how much they tried with Beardo's audition tape, because outside of that one sliver of relatability and his struggle of opening up to others, he's another one-trick pony, just like Rodney. At least this time it didn't feel like he overstayed his welcome. I really don't get what their goal with Beardo was. Alright, so I fucking realized that when writing this video, I didn't even put Ella in. I guess I just forgot about her. But I don't feel like writing something for Ella, so I'm sure you can guess that I don't like Ella. Like, she plays off of Dave and Sky, I guess. She had like a Cinderella plotline, I think. I kind of liked her song at the end. That's really all I can think about that like is even like half positive. I just think she's kind of annoying overall. I didn't laugh at her. I can see why other people would laugh at her. Okay, that's Ella. I'm sorry, this is like way more unscripted than everything else, but you know, I don't like her, so who cares? Leonard is once again another gimmick character, if we're using shitty buzzwords. But this time I found the gimmick sort of funny. He felt like all the nerdiness of Harold cranked up to 1,000,000. Everyone on his team supporting him in both the first and second episode, with the exception of Dave, was still really annoying to almost the same extent as the other team's hatred towards Sammy. If Leonard was the first boot, like his debut episode felt like they were building towards, I might actually like the guy more. Leonard's also one of the only characters where we can put Redonkulous Race into the mix. This time, instead of having a team to dick ride him, Leonard's treated like the joke character he is. I also think Chris somewhat missing him in episode 11 is one of the funnier moments of Pakatu.
This is gonna sound crazy, but I kinda miss that wizard kid. Force field!
Alright, now we're going places. C tier has characters who mostly serve their purpose. They never exceed expectations and might sometimes go a little below expectations, but I can at least see what the writers were trying to do. B is probably the least versatile character in the whole show due to being mute, but I think they used him the best way they could. There was never any chance to give B any character traits besides disliking that his name is Beverly, so instead he worked as an obstacle to Glaze Scott, and that's all he needed to be. It's a shame he couldn't be in the tier he's named after. C will have to do. Nichelle is our first of the 2 reboot characters to never make the merge. And oh my god, they did not give her much to work with. Nichelle's whole shtick is reverse expectations. I didn't find the terrible action star realization in season 1 that amusing. So far, Nichelle's a spoiled brat with no personality other than not liking failure. Season 2, on the other hand, takes advantage of its time skip and makes Nichelle actually competent. You think that made her better? No, God no. She didn't work off of anyone other than the non-existent entity known as Hollywood. I will give Nichelle's season 2 performance the upper hand though, as I found the reverse expectation of thinking she'll be a power player before getting killed by Julia much more entertaining than what season 1 gave her. And her elimination was probably the best it could have been with how nothing of a character Nichelle was beforehand. Good job, Nichelle, you aren't completely worthless. Alright. I was really dreading this section of the video. Topher. You see, I fucking love Topher's archetype. In fact, I love it so much I should be sucking Topher's dick. A contestant who plays off of Chris more than anyone else is a really good idea. On paper. But in execution? He gets nothing! I can't think of a single opinion Topher has about any of his fellow teammates, besides thinking Scarlet is scary, which everyone else agrees with. And this scene is actually pretty good for Scarlet. She's actually my favorite character in Pocket 2 Island, and I'm going off topic! Why? Why doesn't Topher get anything with the cast till he teams up with Jasmine in episode 7? What were they thinking? Okay, no. I like the shot of Topher holding this baby. It's really funny visual storytelling. And come on guys, it's the Topher experience. I love Topher. No I don't. Yes I do. No I don't. Yes I do. Let's move on before I have a fucking stroke! Chase did the overconfident attention whore archetype better in 1 episode than Topher did in his entire run. End of story. Let's finish off C tier on a positive note. Katie and Sadie are in another tied position. This is the best execution of characters made to be annoying, mostly due to the fact that Gen 1 is such a big cast, meaning these two don't feel like they're taking up too much space in the lineup. I still think Sadie got way further than she should have. If she died 3 episodes or so earlier, I wouldn't be complaining. There's nothing much else to say though. Katie and Sadie served their purpose and didn't surpass expectations in any way. B tier has characters who I enjoy the presence of and met all expectations for what an early boot should be in the show. No glaring issues to be had. This might be my most head-ass, gung-ho take in the video, but I'm mostly cool with Ezekiel in both of his seasons. Yeah, Feral Ezekiel's pretty funny. He started out as an easy first boot sexist target to bring some level of uncertainty between him and Courtney, and it worked really well to amp up Courtney's island run. World Tour, on the other hand, they turn him into a Golem parody, and while it's abysmal for his character, I never cared about Ezekiel at all beforehand, so this is the funniest thing they could have done with the dude. I remember being a kid and looking up World Tour videos on YouTube and seeing all the documented times Ezekiel showed up in the background like it was some sort of fucked up creepypasta, and that scared the shit out of me. Feral Ezekiel is one of the most random plot lines in the whole show, but it also contributed to the magic which made World Tour such a unique season. Okay. Eva technically doesn't count as a pre-merger since she had exactly 1 episode in the merge as a returnee. But fuck you if you care about that shit. This is my video, not yours. The video wouldn't feel right without her in the first place. I like Eva. She served her purpose in Island as an early game antagonist on the Killer Bass. She's also one of the funnier parts of World Tour's Aftermath show.
What are you saying?
I'm glad they were able to give Eva a few funny moments in a season which is already balancing a lot of shit. Good character. Dawn is probably the poster child for characters who get no screen time. They gave her a really cool design. Dare I say, too cool for her own good? And she is a perfect foil to Scott. I love her little snooty face she gives him. It works really well comedically for a character who's normally super toned down compared to the rest of the toxic rats. Dawn did a perfect job at showing Scott's villainous edge by killing her. It also highlighted his much more go-with-the-flow attitude compared to Heather and Alejandro, since Scott's plan to eliminate Dawn was originally going to be towards Brick. Most of this segment is talking about Scott, and that's probably because most of Dawn's best moments are playing off of him. Episode 3 is such a fun pre-merge episode in general. I can see why the Dot fandom is as prevalent as it is. I'm not sure if the two have romantic chemistry, but there's comedic chemistry for sure. Oh my god, writing this video really puts into perspective how good the second generation cast is. Because Anne Maria is next and she is really fun. Her role in the game was to put into perspective how draining it is for Mike to balance his multiple personalities. And what better way to do that than having one of Mike's alters hook up with someone else? Since there's no other place to put it, I think Vito is Mike's best alter. I don't know what Sierra was thinking when she said Svetlana was her favorite. Svetlana fucking sucks. Back to Anne Maria. Her acting as the mutant maggot's unexpected tank with her impenetrable helmet hair is an amusing portrayal. Some of Zoe's best moments in Season 4 involve bouncing off of Anne Maria. There isn't much else to say, unfortunately. I liked her and never felt there was a dip in quality. Now we're getting to the real juicy bits of our ranking. A tier has characters who not only meet, but exceed expectations for what an early elimination should be in total drama. Starting off this all-star roster of losers is Brick. Everyone loves Brick, man. With Joe and Lightning's ample mean streaks, we needed a challenge hustler who's not afraid to be nice. Brick filled those stinky shoes perfectly. Everyone knows him and Joe's rivalry is already one of the best parts of Revenge of the Island as a whole. They even have moments of rare camaraderie, which puts into perspective how good of a duo this could have been despite their differences. Unfortunately, this season didn't have much room for heroes, as we needed to give Cameron more moments to be at odds with all the other villains for his role in the finale to be all the more satisfying. So Brick got the untimely hurl of shame just before merge. He faced his fears and managed to leave with his head held high. Unfortunately, we never saw Brick again, but his DNA, I believe, is present in future generations of Total Drama competitors, so not all is lost. I tip my hat to you, Sonic Team. You can easily argue for Scary Girl being much lower on this list, but just like with the Eva segment, fuck you! She's really funny! Now, I don't like using the term gimmick character, as I feel it's too much of a buzzword to the point where the phrase has lost all meaning. But if anyone fits that description the most, it's Scary Girl! She's the best execution of this archetype by far. And that's because she's the odd one out of Gen 4. She's never glazed by her team to an annoying extent. There's never a time where it feels like her challenge ability is a detriment to the writing. And most importantly, I have a personal bias towards her type of humor. Hell, that's not even the end of Scary Girl. Her attempts at being normal in Season 2 were entertaining enough for first boot standards, and it gave us a little bit of depth to her personality. Here's some food for thought. I think if Leonard was swapped with Scary Girl as the reboot's gimmick character, he'd actually work way better, because Pakatu Island only gave him other caricatures to bounce off of, while Scary Girl actually had a dynamic with grounded characters like Damien. Maybe in another world this could have happened. Wrapping up A tier is our last tied position on the list. Sam and Dakota are super wholesome. Before Season 4 aired, I remember seeing the cast's audition tapes online as a kid. My two favorites of the cast going in were Dakota and Joe. But we're talking about Dakota. Let's swipe Joe aside. As you'd expect, I was disappointed that she was the second boot. So once she came back as an intern, everything was coming my way. Her story about learning to be less spoiled was mostly well executed, especially for 13-episode season standards. Of course, I'm excluding when she turned into Dakotazoid. Let's just call that part of the plotline jarring, to say the least. Because unlike Ezekiel, Dakota felt way more like a character you want to see the best for. So I'm sorry, but this is really hard to sympathize with. Still, I don't want her weird ending to discredit how well a good majority of her story played out. And we haven't even mentioned Sam yet, easily my favorite pre-merger of Revenge of the Island. I found Sam's opening confessional stating he isn't even here to win, but just to not get last place really charming. It makes our already low expectations all the more rewarding when his challenge ability is highlighted. For real. Sam single-handedly gave the Toxic Rats their only one of 2 total wins this season, all the while he was quite literally carrying the most untrustworthy competitor in the whole cast. I can't not love a good underdog. And even when Sam's the punching bag of the Toxic Rats, he still tries to present goodwill to a team who's already decided he's the next to go. While Dakotazoid as a concept is quite shaky, I'm glad it gave Sam a happy ending to Season 4. Sam is also the only competitor in which we could bring all-stars into the mix. Everyone's favorite season, right? It's wholesome in a sad way seeing him take the fall by getting sent to Boney Island after feeling bad about his challenge performance. While Sam inherently shouldn't be all-stars worthy, the fact that he is there in the first place makes me wish he ended up merging. I feel that would have been a pleasant second wind for his character, instead of just getting murked in episode 4, because Sam's rivalry with Alejandro is one of the funniest examples of opposites I've ever seen in the show. It wouldn't feel right not to pair Sam and Dakota up for their spot on the list, even if I do like them both for very different reasons. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, you can probably guess who the top 2 characters will be in this list. These 2 characters don't just meet expectations, they don't even just exceed expectations. These 2 characters throw all expectations outside the window. They're able to stand up tall next to total drama mainstays without feeling out of place. We've made it to S tier! Now, if this were an objective list, Noah would be in first place. No competition. He honestly barely counts on this list because of how far the reality TV pros got in Redonkulous Race. But let's cover Noah in order of seasonal appearances, since he's the only character we have 3 seasons of the show to look at. In Island, he only exists to give the Screaming Gophers an obvious first target. I found him pretty cool in Playa de Losers, and that's about it. But World Tour, on the other hand, brings Noah up to speed with the rest of his Gen 1 peers. Whoever decided to pair him up with Owen deserves a raise, because this is easily one of the best duos in the whole show. Noah's here to give Alejandro a way to present just how much control he has in the game, cause in the blink of an eye, Noah straight up dies. I'm not even mad, I'm more so impressed that Alejandro managed to pull it off. Noah was a very fun part of World Tour, and set up a great example of what returnees can pull off with just a slight change in presentation. But if I'm gonna be honest, I think everyone kind of oversells Noah's humor this season. Like, sure, he was amusing, but the funniest character? I don't know about that. Come fly with us, come die with us? You're telling me that's funnier than anything Owen did?
Will Chef fix the plane so we can leave here while I'm still young?
I don't know, did we land in the 70s?
Alright, I'll shut up. Noah's an S tier for a reason. After the community collectively glazed him to no end, they gave Noah one of the biggest storylines in the Redonkulous Race. It made sense for Noah to be irritated about his performance going off of total drama, so his strict mindset of playing to win while dragging Owen along for the ride is understandable, but also makes it all the more unexpectedly engaging when he burns his previous attitude for a romantic shot at Emma. And while I personally don't find Noah that funny, I think Emma laughing at his shitty jokes to no end is very wholesome. She's like Yukiko in Persona 4, if you understand that reference at least. Nowadays, Noah has sealed his fate as one of Total Drama's unofficial mascots after being included in the purgatory known as Total Drama-rama. It is time for the number 1 placement! Are you shaking in your seats? Because I'm shaking right now for comedic effect! I don't think there's any point beating around the bush, because if you know Total Drama well enough, I'm sure it's easy to guess who the one character I haven't talked about yet is. And honestly, I'm sure you can tell from my excitement that I fucking love this character. You might even disagree with me on this placement, but we're all human, and sometimes humans are wrong, because you're wrong if Tyler isn't number 1. He was number 1! This dude's one of my favorite characters in Total Drama. My initial reasons for liking him are admittedly a little shallow though, because as a kid, I thought he had one of the coolest designs in the whole show. His bright red primary colored tracksuit was just so stylish. But now as a young adult, I realize Tyler also has the perfect balance of endearing underdog and comedic slapstick. Both him and Alejandro were definitely the best parts of the love triangle plotline, as we get the lore dump that Tyler has a slide whistle installed in his neck. I found it interesting that Tyler kind of has a meta role in World Tour, which I'll get to later, cause I'd honestly hardly call him a character in Season 1. He's used as a plot device for conflict in Heather, Lindsay, and Beth's alliance before getting eliminated in what I'd honestly call one of my favorite eliminations in the whole show. Phobia Factor's campfire ceremony is engaging because Courtney should so obviously get eliminated. But with characters like Duncan and Jeff being the alphas on the Killer Bass, Courtney is saved over Tyler for the sole reason of Duncan's bros wanting to help him get pussy. We get the perfect balance of uncertainty and understanding. Tyler crying at the end is the cherry on top. Because at this point, why should we care? What did Tyler do to make us invested in him on a personal level? I'll answer that for you. Almost nothing. But that's the beauty in it. How wonderful, how beautiful it is. These tears give us a glimpse of what Tyler could have been. Maybe he felt bad about never getting a chance to prove himself in a challenge, and he realized he never got the moment to shine as anything more than a background element. Oh my god, my throat is so sore doing this video. We empathize with him. Of course, we aren't mentioning that Tyler's one half of the first official couple on the show. Lindsay and Tyler start off pretty shallow, to the point where Lindsay doesn't remember Tyler's name when he returns in Season 3. Like I said, Tyler's presence in World Tour is one of the most meta parts of the season, second only to Sierra's character as a whole. Because we see him talk about how disappointed he is about his lack of fandom coverage, which I can only assume is true when thinking about the community back in 2010. So Tyler's desperation to win back Lindsay makes sense if you put it in that perspective. I think the best example of Tyler's character is in the Yukon. We actually see him pull his weight on the team and make a name for himself despite coming out more damaged than anyone else. Once Lindsay finally remembers him, Tyler's content with being along for the ride and is another link in the long line of contestants to work as a pawn to the main villain. So much so, Tyler still roots for Alejandra over Cody or Heather in World Tour's finale, proving the dude's unending loyalty, not only to Lindsay, but anyone he'd consider a friend. I also think Tyler plays off of Courtney very well. Seeing her struggle to flirt with the most dense guy left was very entertaining. It's an interesting pattern that Courtney is indirectly involved in both of Tyler's eliminations. I would have loved to see this rivalry get explored more if these two ever came back for the same season, cause they had the workings for something great. But okay, that's enough about the story. Tyler's also really funny. How the fuck do you miss a banana? I never thought I'd say that sentence.
It's Tyler time!
What is your depth perception? It makes me so sad that Tyler's probably never gonna come back, because with the reboot's new animation style, it'd be so great to see what his slapstick could become. Because Tyler's definitely the best pain magnet the show has ever seen. This is why Redonkulous Race 2 would be legendary. Imagine the hockey bros on one team interacting with Tyler and Lindsay. Seeing Wayne and Raj bond with the original Jock would be so much fun. And Lindsay has been separated from Tyler for both of their original 2 seasons together. The OG wholesome power couple needs time to shine. I think I gotta end this before the video devolves into a big Tyler video essay. Alrighty then, we finished ranking all 21 of Total Drama's characters to never merge. It's safe to assume most of these characters consist of being intentionally unlikable, a plot device, too likable for their own good, and a gimmick. But within these segregated groups, I'm surprised by just how many of them are able to get their own claims to fame despite everything. Let me know if you guys want to see more random Total Drama ranking videos, because this one was super fun to make. And if you guys disagree with any of my opinions, don't let me know, because I already know you're wrong!